You are working, but you are not building wealth. You are busy, but not productive. You are confusing motion with progress. This is the single biggest mistake keeping you poor. You are trapped in the 80%, the busy work, the endless emails, the low-value tasks that produce only 20% of your results. This audiobook is your liberation. I will give you the 80-20 blueprint to stop wasting 80% of your time and focus 100% of your energy on the 20% of actions that generate 80% of your wealth. Stop being busy. Start being productive. If you are serious about building real wealth, subscribe to this channel right now. Before we begin, a mandatory notice. The content in this audiobook is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It reflects a specific philosophy on wealth psychology, not direct financial advice. I am not a licensed financial advisor. The ideas presented here are principles for developing a mindset. All investment carries risk, and you are solely responsible for your own decisions. Always consult with a certified professional before making any financial moves. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The 80-20. Deception. Why busy keeps you poor. Let's be clear. You have been lied to. You were told that if you just work hard, if you put in the hours, if you keep your head down and stay busy, you will be successful. You will build wealth. You will win. This is the great deception of the modern world. And it is the single reason you are stuck. It's why you feel exhausted at the end of the day, yet your bank account and net worth look the same as they did last year. You are confusing activity with achievement. You are mistaking motion for progress. You are drowning in the 80% of work that produces, at best, 20% of your results. And in most cases, it makes zero results. Welcome to the 80-20 deception. Busyness is the new poverty. It is a drug. It is an addiction that makes you feel productive, while it quietly steals your time, your energy, and your future wealth. You must, starting today, separate activity from achievement. This is the first rule of building wealth. Most people will never do this. They will spend their entire lives on the hamster wheel, running faster and faster, proud of how busy they are. They wear busy as a badge of honor. I'm slammed. I'm back to back all day. I've got 1,000 emails to get through. They are proud of their activity. But what have they achieved? Nothing. They are 80%ers. They are the masses who do 80% of the work for 20% of the pay. This audiobook is for the 20%ers. It is for the person who wants to do 20% of the work, the right job, the focused work, and generate 80% of the wealth. Let's break down the deception. Look at the two mindsets. First, the busy employee. Let's call him Brian. Brian gets to his desk at 8:59 a.m. He's got his coffee. He opens his inbox. He sees 100 new emails. He spends the next 3 hours in a flurry of activity. Click, clack, send, click, clack, reply. He forwards. He schedules meetings. He updates spreadsheets. By noon, he leans back in his chair, takes a deep breath, and feels a rush of accomplishment. He has achieved inbox zero. He feels fantastic. He feels productive. He feels busy. Now let's look at the productive builder. Let's call her Anna. Anna gets to her desk at 9 a.m. She has the same 100 emails. She glances at them for 60 seconds. She identifies one email that matters. One, the other 99 are noise. They are the 80%. They are different people's priorities. She ignores them. She spends the next 3 hours focused on one task, the 20% task. She's drafting a proposal for a high-value client. She's making one difficult, high-stakes sales call. She is building a system to automate part of her business. At noon, her inbox is still full. Her desk is a mess. She doesn't feel productive in the way Brian does. She feels the tension of real work. But she has just landed a $50,000 contract. She has just saved her company 10 hours a week, forever. Brian managed his day. Anna built her future. Brian was busy. Anna was productive. Do you see the difference? Brian is addicted to the feeling of accomplishment. He gets a small dopamine hit every time he clicks send. Anna is addicted to the reality of achievement. She is focused on the outcome. You must separate activity from achievement. This is not a suggestion. This is a command. The reason you stay busy is simple. It's because busyness is a form of laziness. Read that again. Being busy is a form of laziness. It is the easiest thing in the world to do. It's easy to answer emails. It's easy to go to meetings you were invited to. It's easy to check items off a long to-do list. It's easy to do the shallow work that requires no real thought, no real courage, and no real risk. You know what's hard? Sitting down in silence and identifying the one thing that truly matters. Making the cold call you're afraid of. Saying no to a meeting request. Ignoring 99 emails to focus on the one proposal that could change your life. Risking rejection. Risking failure. That is the 20% work. That is the hard work. Busyness is procrastination in disguise. You are busy doing the 80% of trivial tasks precisely because you are afraid of doing the 20% of vital work. It's not about what you feel. It's about what you execute. You feel like cleaning up your inbox. You must execute the sales call. You feel like organizing your files. You must execute the business plan. Your feelings are liars. Your feelings want you to be comfortable. Your feelings want you to be busy. Building wealth is not about comfort. It is about discipline. Being busy is a form of laziness. Being productive is an act of discipline. You have a choice with your capital. If you put your money in a savings account that pays 0.01%, you are a bad investor. You are losing to inflation. Your focus is your most valuable capital. It is more valuable than your money. When you spend your focus on 80% of busy work, you are a bad investor. You are getting a 0.01% return on your life. You are letting the world steal your greatest asset. The 20%er, the wealth builder, invests their focus. They invested in the 20% of activities that yield an 80% return. That's the key to long-term wealth. Think about your to-do list. Look at it. Right now, I guarantee it is a monument to busyness. Reply to Bill, schedule team sync, update progress report, file expenses. This is not a list of achievements. This is a list of activities. It is your 80% trap written down in ink. A productive person's list has one item: generate $20,000 in new revenue, or secure 3 new high-value clients, or finish the manuscript for the book. All their energy, all their focus is geared toward that outcome. They don't care about the 100 small, busy tasks. They let those tasks die. They understand that you don't need permission to execute your plan. You don't need permission to ignore the 80%. You must be ruthless. Your first action item from this chapter is an audit. For the next 24 hours, I want you to look at every single task you do. And before you do it, you will ask yourself 2 questions. Is this activity, or is this an achievement? Is this task 80% of trivial work, or the 20% of vital work? You will be disgusted by the results. You will find that 80, perhaps 90% of your day is a complete and total waste. It is a deception. You are running in place. You must stop. You must separate activity from achievement. You must accept that being busy is a form of laziness. You must have the courage to be unbusy. You must have the discipline to sit in silence, ignore the noise, and execute on the 20% of work that actually builds your wealth. The 80-20 deception is the filter that keeps the masses poor. It's the wall that separates the worker bee from the queen. You have now seen the wall. You understand the lie. You know why you are stuck. But seeing the deception is not enough. Now you must identify your escape route. You must find your 20%. That's why, in Chapter 2, we stop diagnosing the problem and start building the solution. Chapter 2. Identify your 20% wealth triggers. In the last chapter, we exposed the great deception, the lie that being busy is the same as being productive, the lie that activity equals achievement. You now see the 80% trap all around you. You see the hamster wheel, you see the motion that leads to nowhere. But seeing the trap is not the same as escaping it. To escape, you must have a map. You need a target. You cannot just stop being busy. You must start being productive. And that begins by answering one non-negotiable question. What is your 20%? What are the few, vital, high-leverage actions that are responsible for 80% of your results, 80% of your income, and 80% of your future wealth? Do not answer too quickly. Most people guess. They think they know. They say, oh, it's my clients, or it's my work, or it's my investing. That is lazy. That is emotional. That is a guess. And guessing is why you are still stuck at 80%. Wealth builders do not guess. They measure. This brings us to the second rule of this entire system. You cannot optimize what you do not measure. You cannot improve your financial situation if you do not know where your money is going. You cannot improve your portfolio if you do not track its performance. And you cannot optimize your life for productivity if you do not measure where your most valuable capital is actually being spent. So we are going to stop guessing. We are going to conduct an audit. I call it the 80-20 Wealth Audit. This is not a suggestion, this is your assignment. For the next 7 days, you will get a blank notebook or open a new spreadsheet, and you will track everything. You will write down every single task you perform, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. Be brutally honest. No one is watching. Scrolled social media for 45 minutes. Write it down. Attended a useless 60-minute team meeting. Write it down. Spent 30 minutes arguing with a utility company on the phone. Write it down. Replied to 75 low-priority emails. Write it down. Drafted one proposal for a new $20,000 client. Write it down. Read 30 minutes of a book on investment strategy. Write it down. Worried for 25 minutes about the stock market. Write it down. This is step 1, the list. You are gathering the raw data of your life. Step 2 is the value. This is where the laziness of busyness is exposed. At the end of each day, you will go down your list and assign a financial value to every task. How? You ask yourself, what did this action directly contribute to my long-term wealth? Scrolled social media? The value is negative. It costs you focus. Let's call it negative $50 in opportunity cost. Useless team meeting? The value is 0. Arguing with the utility company? 0. Replied to 75 low-priority emails? $10 in total value. It's low-level maintenance. Drafted proposal for $20,000 client? The value is $20,000. Read 30 minutes on an investment strategy? The value is $1,000 in future knowledge. Be ruthless, be objective. This is not about your feelings. It's about the results. You don't feel like the proposal was the most important. You know it was. You will do this for 7 days. At the end of the week, you will have the most honest, brutal document of your life. It will be a perfect record of your 80-20 split. Step 3. The identification. Take a red pen. Go through your entire list. I want you to circle the tasks that produced 80% of the value, not 80% of the activity. 80% of the value. What you will find will shock you. It will disgust you. You will find that an entire week of your life, 70, 80, 90% of your time, was spent on tasks with a value of 0 or less. And you will find that 80% or more of your total positive value came from 3, maybe 4, perhaps 5 actions. That's it. These, my friend, are your wealth triggers. These are the 20%. Everything else on that list, that is the 80% noise. That is the deception. That is the busy work you are addicted to. That is the enemy. For an entrepreneur, your wealth triggers might be making high-value sales calls, creating your product or service, developing your marketing strategy. Everything else, managing invoices, fixing the font on your website, organizing your inbox, is the 80% trap. For an employee, your wealth triggers might be the one weekly report your CEO actually reads, the 30-minute call with your most important client. The 1 hour of deep work you spend learning a new skill makes you irreplaceable. Everything else, the endless internal meetings, the reply-all email chains, the company gossip, is the 80% trap. For an investor, your wealth triggers are making your automated, non-negotiable monthly investment. The 2 hours you spend researching a new high-quality asset. The 80% trap? It's checking your portfolio 20 times a day. It's watching financial news and panicking. It's about timing the market, not time in the market. You cannot optimize what you do not measure. Now you have the measurement. You have identified your wealth triggers. You have separated the signal from the noise. This is the key. You must find the 20% that pays you and stop everything else. This is a non-negotiable focus. Your brain will fight you on this. Your brain likes the 80% noise. Why? Because it's easy. It's comfortable. It's low risk. Replying to 50 emails is easy. You can't fail. Making one sales call to a CEO where you might be rejected, that's hard. That's scary. That's a 20% task. Your old life was defined by what you felt like doing. Your new life, your wealthy, productive life, is determined by what you execute. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you execute. You now have the data. You have the truth. You cannot unsee it. You now know with mathematical certainty which 2 to 3 actions build your wealth and which 20 to 30 actions are destroying it. You have a choice with your capital. You can continue to invest your focus in the 80% of tasks that give you a 0 or negative return. Or you can make the disciplined choice to go all in on your 20% wealth triggers. That's the key to long-term wealth. You have your list, you have your triggers, you have your target. But identifying the enemy is not the same as defeating it. Now comes the hard part. Now comes the part where 90% of people fail. Now we must learn the art of elimination. That's why in Chapter 3 we take your 80% list and learn how to kill it. Chapter 3. The Art of Elimination. How to kill 80% of your tasks. You've done the audit. You have the data. You have your list of 20% wealth triggers, the 3 or 4 actions that generate 80% of your value. And you have the other list, the long list, the 80% list, the noise, the distractions, the busy work, the zero-value tasks that are eating your life. This is the moment of truth. This is where 90% of people stop. They know what the 80% is, they can see it, but they won't cut it. They are addicted to the feeling of being busy. They are afraid to let go. And so, they fail. They stay stuck. You will not be one of them. You are here to build wealth. And creating wealth is not just about what you start doing. It is, more importantly, about what you stop doing. Welcome to the most powerful tool in your entire productivity arsenal, the Stop Doing list. Your Stop Doing list is infinitely more important than your to-do list. Your to-do list is filled with 80% noise. Your Stop Doing list is your declaration of freedom from it. You must understand this. Saying no is a wealth-building skill. In fact, it is the dominant wealth-building skill. Every time you say yes to a low-value task, every time you say yes to a meeting that has no agenda, every time you say yes to an email that is not your priority, you are, by default, saying no to your 20% wealth triggers. You are saying no to your future. Every yes to the 80% is a no to the 80% return. It's a no to building your business. It's a no to finding your next investment. It's a no to your freedom. You have a choice with your capital, your focus capital. Stop giving it away for free. So how do we do this? We don't just try to do less. We attack the 80% list with a system. For every single item on your 80% list, you will ask 3 questions in this order. Question 1, can this be eliminated? This is the first and most important question. Not, how can I do this faster? But what happens if I just don't do this? What happens if you don't attend that weekly update meeting? What happens if you don't send that just checking in email? What happens if you don't read that 50 email chain you were CC'd on? The answer, 99% of the time, is nothing. Nothing happens. The world does not end. This is the kill step. You must be ruthless. If a task does not directly contribute to your 20% triggers, you eliminate it. You hit delete. You decline the meeting. You archive the email. Eliminate ruthlessly. Question 2. If it cannot be eliminated, can it be automated? This is for the 80% of tasks that are low value but necessary. Paying bills, moving money to your investment account, and responding to the same customer question. You will never get rich by being the fastest person to pay a utility bill. Stop doing it. Automate it. Set up autopay. Create email filters and templates. Use software. Spend 30 minutes once to build a system that saves you 3 hours every month for the rest of your life. That is a high-leverage 20% action. Question 3. If it cannot be eliminated or automated, can it be delegated? This is the trap for high performers. You are good at 80% of the tasks. You are good at organizing. You are good at managing. Who cares? Just because you are good at a task does not mean you should be the one doing it. This is a non-negotiable rule of wealth. You should only be doing the things that only you can do. Is data entry your 20% wealth trigger? Number, then delegate it. Is managing your inbox your 20% wealth trigger? Number, then delegate it. Hire a virtual assistant. Train a junior employee. Pay your neighbor's kid to mow your lawn. Yes, it costs money, but it buys you time, and you will use that time to focus on your 20% triggers, which will generate 100 times what you paid for the delegation. Let's use a real-world example. The entrepreneur, you have 10 clients. You are proud to have 10 clients. You are also stressed, burned out, and not making enough money. You do your 80-20 audit. You discover that 2 of your clients, the 20%, pay you 80% of your total revenue. They are a joy to work with. They respect your time. The other 8 clients, the 80%, pay you a tiny 20% of your revenue. But they are responsible for 80% of your emails, 80% of your stress, 80% of your complaints, and 80% of your busy work. The 80%er, the busy entrepreneur, keeps all 10 clients. They are afraid of losing income, so they spend 80% of their life servicing low-value, high-stress people. They are trapped. The 20%er, the wealth builder, does the hard thing. They fire the 8 bad clients. This is terrifying. It feels like a loss. Your brain screams that you are losing 20% of your revenue. But what actually happens? You instantly free up 80% of your time. You instantly free up 80% of your mental energy. You have just eliminated the single biggest source of busyness in your life. Now you take that 80% of new high-quality focus and you invest it. You can pour it into your 2 best clients, over-delivering so they never leave and send you 5 more clients just like them. Or you can use that 80% of new time to go out and find 2 more high-value clients. You have cut your client list by 80%, but you are on a path to double your revenue to say, while working less. That is leverage. That is the art of elimination. Saying no is a wealth-building skill. Eliminate ruthlessly. This isn't about being a jerk, this is about being a professional. You are the CEO of your life, your time, and your capital. You don't need their permission to execute your plan. You don't need to apologize for being focused. Your stop doing list is your shield. Stop attending any meeting without a clear agenda. Stop checking email before 11 a.m. Stop saying yes on the spot. I'll check my priorities and get back to you is your new answer. Stop doing any task that is not on your 20% wealth trigger list. This is the discipline. It's not about what you feel. It's about what you execute. You will feel guilty. You will feel like you are missing out. You will feel like you are letting people down. Execute anyway. You have separated activity from achievement. You have identified your 20% triggers. Now you have eliminated 80% of the noise. Your schedule is now clean. Your focus is now sharp. You have created a vacuum. Now we must apply this same ruthless 80-20 logic to the engine of your wealth, your money. You've stopped chasing 80% of tasks. Now you must stop chasing 80% of hot tips and quick returns. That's why in Chapter 4, we become 80-20 investors. Chapter 4, the 80-20 investor. Stop chasing. Start owning. You have learned to eliminate 80% of your wasted time. You have learned to kill the busyness that kept you poor. You have created a vacuum of focus, ready to be aimed at your 20% wealth triggers. Now we apply this same ruthless 80-20 logic to the engine of your wealth, your money, your capital, your investments. Because the financial market, the entire ecosystem of Wall Street, financial news, and hot tips is the single largest 80-20 deception on planet Earth. It is a machine designed to prey on the 80%ers. It is engineered to reward the 20%. The 80% majority believe that investing is an activity. They think it is busyness. They believe that to win, you must be fast, you must be clever, you must be in the know. They are wrong. They are the prey. They are the busy investor. Let's call him Charlie. Charlie wakes up at 5 a.m. to watch the pre-market news. He has 3 screens on his desk. One is on CNBC. One is on a crypto chart. One is on his trading platform. He hears a hot tip about a new tech stock. He feels a rush of excitement. This is it. He sells his old stock, taking a small loss, and jumps into the new one. The stock pops 2%. He feels like a genius. By noon, the market turns. His hot tip is down 8%. He feels a spike of fear. He sells to cut his losses. He spends the rest of the day hunting for the next trade to make his money back. Charlie is exhausted by 4 p.m. He was busy all day. He made 15 trades. He was 100% active, and his portfolio is down 3%. He paid 1% in fees and 2% in bad decisions. He was busy. He was not productive. He confused activity with achievement. He is the 80%er. He is generating 20% or negative results from 80% of the effort. Now let's look at the productive investor. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah has one 20% wealth trigger for her investments. Automatically invest 15% of my income every single month into a low-cost, broad market index fund. That's it. That is her entire plan. On the same day Charlie was having a heart attack, Sarah's automated investment was made. She didn't even see it happen. The market went up. The market went down. She didn't care. She was not watching. She was not feeling. She was executing. She spent 0 minutes investing that day. She spent 0 minutes on busyness. Her 20% action, now 0% because it's automated, captures 80% of the market's long-term returns. She is the 20%er. Charlie is gambling. Sarah is owning. Stop chasing. Start owning. The 80% noise in investing is everything loud. The daily stock prices, the breaking news on TV, the crypto guru on YouTube, the hot tip from your coworker, the fear, the greed, the what if. This is all noise designed to make you act, designed to make you busy. Why? Because every time you act, every time you trade, every time you sell in a panic, someone else gets paid. The brokers get paid, the platforms get paid, the smart money, the 20% who are waiting patiently, gets paid. Your busyness pays them. Your emotion pays them. You must accept this as a fundamental law. It's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. This is the ultimate 80-20 investment principle. The 80%ers, the busy investors, spend 80% of their energy trying to time the market. They try to buy the dip. They try to sell the top. This is an act of pure ego. It is impossible. It is a 0% return activity. The 20%ers, the wealth builders, ignore timing. They use time. They execute their plan. They buy consistently, month after month, year after year. They let the 80% principle of compound growth do the work for them. You have a choice with your capital. You can use it to chase or to own. You can use it to gamble or to compound. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you execute. You will feel fear when the market crashes. The 80%er sells, the 20%er executes their automated buy, acquiring more assets at a discount. You will feel greed when a stock goes to the moon. The 80% FOMO buys at the top. The 20%er executes their automated buy of the total market, ignoring the single speculative stock. Your feelings are a liability in investing. Your system is your asset. That's the key to long-term wealth. Your 20% wealth trigger for investing is not finding the next Amazon. Your 20% wealth trigger is building the system that allows you to invest consistently for 30 years, regardless of what the market is doing. This leads to the great mantra of the 80-20 investor. Your portfolio should be boring. Your life should be exciting. The 80%ers do the opposite. They want excitement from their portfolio. They treat it like a casino. Their portfolio is a roller coaster. And as a result, their life is one of stress, anxiety, and ultimately poverty. The 20%er builds a boring portfolio, an index fund that plods along year after year. It's predictable, it's automated, it's dull. And because their wealth engine is boring and predictable, their life can be exciting. They can have the freedom. They can have peace of mind. They can focus 80% of their time and energy on their family, their health, and their true 20% work. Stop checking your stocks. Stop listening to the noise. Start building your contribution. Your action item for this chapter is to automate your 20%. Your task is to log in to your brokerage account and set up an automatic, recurring investment in a broad market, low-cost index fund every week, every 2 weeks, or every month. That's it. That is the 20% action that will deliver 80% of your entire lifetime investment returns. You have eliminated 80% of your tasks. You have eliminated 80% of your investment noise. You have protected your time. You have protected your money. But there is one final hidden leak, a leak that drains your most valuable resource, the one that makes all other 80-20 discipline possible, your mental energy, your decision-making capital. That's why in Chapter 5, we must confront the enemy inside our own mind. Chapter 5. The hidden tax of low-value decisions. You have done the work. You have eliminated 80% of the tasks that kept you busy. You have automated 80% of investment noise that kept you poor. You have created a fortress of focus. Your time is protected. Your capital is protected. But there is a silent saboteur already inside the walls, a hidden tax that is levied on you moment by moment all day long. It's not a tax on your money. It's a tax on your mind. It's called decision fatigue. You wake up. You have a finite amount of high-quality mental energy for the day. This energy is your willpower. It is your critical thinking. It is your executive function. This, just like your money and your time, is your capital. And from the moment you open your eyes, the 80% trap begins to drain it. What should I wear today? 1% of mental capital gone. What should I eat for breakfast? 1% of mental capital gone. Should I check my email, social media, or the news first? 2% of mental capital gone. Which email should I open? 1% gone. What font should I use for this document? 1% gone. Should I go to the gym now or later? 1% gone. These are the 80% decisions. They are trivial. They are low value. They are noise. But here's the fatal mistake. Your brain uses the same battery to make a $5 decision what to eat for lunch as it does to make a $50,000 decision whether to invest. The 80%er, the busy person, spends 80% of their day on 80% of these trivial decisions. Their mind feels active. They feel like they are handling things. But they are just a busy mind cluttered with noise. By 3 p.m., their mental battery is at 10%. And that is when the real 20% task appears. The high-stakes negotiation, the difficult conversation with a partner, the complex analysis of a new business opportunity, the moment they need to execute their actual wealth trigger. And what happens? They have no high-quality mental capital left, so they procrastinate. I'll deal with this tomorrow. Or they make a bad emotional decision. Or worst of all, they default to the easiest decision, which is almost always the 80% choice. I'll just do what everyone else is doing. They have spent all their executive capital on the wardrobe and have nothing left for the wealth. This is the hidden tax. You are paying for your 80% decisions with your 20% future. Now look at the 20%er, the wealth builder. They understand that mental energy is their most precious asset. They are ruthless protectors of their focus. This is why you see high performers like Mark Zuckerberg or the late Steve Jobs wearing the same uniform every single day. Do you think that's an accident? Do you think they just don't care about clothes? You are missing the point. It is a calculated, strategic act of war. It is an 80-20 decision. They identified what to wear as an 80% decision, and they eliminated it. They eliminated it forever. They automated it. They standardized it. They made that decision once, so they would never have to spend a single drop of mental capital on it ever again. They are not protecting their time. They are protecting their mind. Protect your focus. Automate the trivial. Your best thinking should be reserved for your wealth, not your wardrobe. This is not a metaphor. This is a command. You must apply the Eliminate, Automate, Delegate framework not only to your tasks, but also to your decisions. Eliminate what 80% decisions can you kill. Standardize your meals. Eat the same high-performance breakfast every single day. Create your uniform. 5 of the same shirt, 2 of the same pants. Done. You have just reclaimed your mental energy every single morning for the rest of your life. Kill the decision of when you will work on your 20% task. The decision is made 9 a.m. every day, no matter what. It is no longer a choice. It is a law. Automate. What 80% decisions can you put on autopilot? Automate your bill payments. Never think about a utility bill again. Automate your savings. The decision of how much to save is made once, then the system takes over. You are not just automating the task, you are automating the decision. You are buying back your willpower. Delegate. What 80% decisions can you give away? Stop being the person who decides where the team goes for lunch. Who cares? Let someone else do it. Stop researching 50 different brands of paper towels. Just buy one. You don't need to be the decision maker for the 80% noise. You need to be the executor of the 20% value. It's not about what you feel. It's about what you execute. You will feel the urge to check your phone. That is an 80% decision. You must complete 20% of the work. You will feel the urge to just clean up your desk before you start. That is an 80% decision. You must complete 20% of the work. Your first 2 hours of the day are your high water mark for mental capital. That is your prime 20% time. The 80% are wasted on 80% noise. They read the news. They check social media. They clean their inbox. They spend their best $100 of mental energy on 10-cent tasks. The 20%er is a dragon guarding its gold. They protect those first 2 hours with their life. They are offline. The door is closed. They aim 100% of their best mental capital directly at their number one wealth trigger. That's the key to long-term wealth. It's not that they have more willpower than you. It's that they manage their willpower. They don't waste it. You have a choice with your mental capital. Are you going to spend it on deciding which latte to buy? Or are you going to spend it on building your empire? Protect your focus. Automate the trivial. Your best thinking should be reserved for your wealth, not your wardrobe. You have now sealed the leaks. Your time is protected. Your money is protected. Your mind is protected. You have created a clean, sterile, high-performance environment for yourself. But there is one final massive 80-20 variable: the people you let into this environment, because the people around you will either be your greatest 20% asset or your most toxic 80% liability. That's why in Chapter 6 we stop managing tasks and start managing your circle. Chapter 6. The 20% relationships. Surround yourself with assets, not liabilities. You have built a fortress. You have eliminated 80% of tasks that stole your time. You have automated 80% of investment noise that stole your money. You have standardized 80% of trivial decisions that steal your mental energy. Your fortress is clean, it is strong, it is focused. But you are leaving the front gate wide open, and you are letting saboteurs, thieves, and energy vampires walk right in. You are not an island. The final and most dangerous 80-20 variable is your network. The people you allow into your life, the voices you allow into your head, and the 80-20 rule applies, most brutally, to the people in your life. The math is simple. 80% of the people in your circle are liabilities. 20% are assets. This is not emotional. This is a balance sheet. A liability is someone who costs you more focus, energy, and capital than they provide. An asset is someone who offers more value, insight, and leverage than they cost. Your 80% relationships are liabilities. They are the energy vampires, the complainers, the victims. They are the ones who call you to complain for an hour about their boss, the economy, or their problems. And they are stealing your 20% time to do it. They are the scarcity mindset, the ones who, when you share a big idea, say, "That's too risky," or "That will never work," or "Who do you think you are?" They are the busy people who want to pull you into their 80% noise, the gossip, the drama, the distractions. They are the crabs in a bucket, pulling you back down to their level of comfortable busyness. When you spend time with them, you come away from the conversation drained. You feel slower, you feel less focused, you feel poorer. They are the personification of the 80% noise. Then there are your 20% relationships, your assets. These are your force multipliers. These are the mentors, the partners, and the challengers. They don't talk about people. They talk about ideas. They talk about opportunities. When you bring them an idea, they don't say, "That's risky." They say, "How can we execute it? What's the 20% action that gets this done?" They are the ones who hold you accountable. They are the only ones who have permission to ask you, "Did you execute your 20% work today? Or were you just busy?" Spending 1 hour with a 20% asset is worth more than 100 hours spent with the 80% liabilities. When you leave a conversation with them, you feel energized. You feel faster. You feel smarter. You feel richer. That's the key to long-term wealth. The 80%er thinks this is mean. They think it's transactional. They say, "But this person is my family," or "This is my oldest friend." They are letting their emotions trap them in a cycle of poverty. The 20%er, the wealth builder, knows the truth. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is a non-negotiable law of the universe. If you surround yourself with 4 broke, complaining up and busy people, you will be the 5th. It's not about what you feel. It's about what you execute. You feel loyal to your old friend who does nothing but complain. You must execute a boundary to protect your mission. Just as you did with your tasks, you must now audit your people. This is the hardest audit you will ever do, but it is the most necessary. Take out a piece of paper, list the 10 people you give the most time and focus to. Be honest. Next to every single name, you will write one word: asset or liability. Does this person fuel your 20% mission? Or do they drain your energy into their 80% noise? Does this person challenge you to be better? Or do they comfort you in your excuses? Are they an asset to your future or a liability from your past? The results will be painful. You will see with brutal clarity that 80% of your time is being given to 80% of the liabilities. You are making a bad investment. You have a choice with your focus capital. Stop investing it in negative return relationships. Now we apply the 80-20 framework. For your 20% asset list, invest. You will take 80% of the time you are about to reclaim and double down on these people. Buy your mentor lunch. Ask them questions. Start a mastermind group with other 20%ers. Your goal is to increase the time you spend with your assets. This is the highest leverage 20% action you can take. For your 80% liability list, apply the eliminate or automate rules. Eliminate for the people on your list who are purely toxic, purely negative, purely a drain. You must have the courage to cut them off. This is the stop doing list for your life. Stop taking the call. Stop replying to the text. Stop the meeting. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be rude. You just stop. You go silent. You eliminate the drain. Automate or manage. This is for the 80% you cannot eliminate. This is your family member who is a constant complainer. This is your old friend you still care about. You cannot eliminate them, so you must manage them. You must put them on a system. You automate the relationship. You are no longer available for their 80% crisis calls. You are no longer available for their hour-long complaints. You will move them from random high-frequency contact to low-frequency scheduled contact. You will see them once a month for 1 hour on your terms. You will create and enforce a ruthless boundary. This is the ultimate test. Your 80% liabilities will fight you. They will say, "You've changed." The correct answer is, yes, I have. You don't need their permission to execute your plan. You don't need their approval to build your wealth. You must choose their comfort or your future. You cannot have both. You have cleared the noise from your schedule. You have cleared the noise from your finances. You have cleared the noise from your mind, and now you have cleared the noise from your network. The fortress is secure. The saboteurs are gone. There are no more excuses. There is nothing left but you and the 20% work. Now, the real execution begins. That's why in Chapter 7 we stop planning the work and learn to do the job. Chapter 7. Master deep work. The 20% of time that drives 80% of progress. The fortress is built. The noise is gone. Your schedule is clear of the 80% tasks. Your portfolio is automated, free of the 80% noise. Your mind is protected from 80% of trivial decisions. Your network is curated, free of the 80% liabilities. There are no more excuses. There is nothing left to hide behind. It is just you and a vast open field of focus. It is time to execute your 20% wealth triggers. But how? You cannot take your old, busy habits into this new, clean environment. You cannot apply the 80% method to the 20% priority. If you do, you will fail. This brings us to the great battlefield of modern work, shallow versus deep. This is the 80-20 of your actual time. Let's define the 80% trap. It's called shallow work. What is shallow work? It is every email you answer. It is every Slack, Teams, or GChat message you respond to. It is multitasking between 3 different windows. It is the quick 5-minute call. It is the endless stream of notifications. Shallow work is the new busyness. It is the 80% trap in its most addictive digital form. Why? Because it feels productive. You are clicking, you are typing, you are responding, you are active. But what are you achieving? You are a digital hamster on a wheel. You are a high-speed message passer. You are a switchboard operator for other people's 80% priorities. You are busy but not productive. You are doing 80% of the activity and creating 20% or 0 of the value. Now let's define the 20%. This is deep work. Deep work is the forge. It is where 20% of your time creates 80% or 100% of your new value. Deep work is when you shut down all distractions. You close the inbox, you turn off the phone, you go offline, and you focus with 100% of your mental capital on one single high-value task for a sustained period of time. This is where your wealth triggers are executed. This is not answering emails. This is writing the proposal that lands the $100,000 client. This is not checking your portfolio. This is about researching the annual report that will define your next 10-year investment. This is not chatting about the project. This is the building, writing, or drafting of the project, the system, code, or strategy. Shallow work is low value, high distraction. Deep work is high value, 0 distraction. This leads to the great mantra of 80-20 execution. 1 hour of deep work is worth 8 hours of distraction. Read that again. One focused hour is worth an entire day of busy work. This is the 80-20 of your workday. The 80%er works for 8 hours in a state of constant, shallow distraction. They create 1 hour of real value. The 20%er works for 1 hour in a state of deep, protected focus. They create 8 hours of real value. Who wins? Who builds wealth? It's not the person who works the longest, it's the person who works the deepest. The entire modern world is designed to prevent you from doing this. Your phone, your apps, your notifications, even your colleagues, they are all in a war for your focus. Your focus is your most valuable capital, and they want to spend it on their 80% noise. You have a choice with your capital. You can let them steal it, one notification at a time, or you can protect it. Protect your focus. This is not a suggestion, this is a command. You must build a fortress for your time, just as you did for your mind. This is how you execute. First, you use time blocking. You do not wait for time to find deep work. You make the time. You will review your calendar and schedule a 90-minute non-negotiable meeting. It will say, Deep Work, Project X. This is a meeting with your future wealth. You do not cancel it. You do not move it. You treat it with more respect than a meeting with your CEO. Because you are the CEO, this 90-minute block is your 20% of time. Second, you build the environment. You cannot go into deep work in the middle of the 80% battlefield. You must retreat. This means the door is closed. The phone is not on silent. It is off, and it is in another room. Your email client is closed. Your chat apps are closed. If your work does not require the internet, you disconnect from the internet. You become a ghost. You are unreachable. This is the key. You must stop being available. You must start being productive. Third, you master the discipline. This is the hardest part. This is where feel versus execute comes in. 5 minutes into your deep work session, your 80% addicted brain will scream. It will feel bored. You will feel the urge to just check your email. It will feel the phantom vibration in your pocket. This is the addiction. This is the 80% trap trying to pull you back in. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you execute. You will have the discipline to sit in that discomfort. You will ignore the feeling. You will stay on the 20% task, and you will execute. One 90-minute block of this, just one, is more productive than an entire day of shallow, busy work. That's the key to long-term wealth. You have cleared the land, you have built the fortress, and now you have the blueprint for the engine of value creation, deep work. You have mastered the execution of your time. But this high-performance engine requires high-performance fuel. The fuel is your capital, your money. And right now, you are leaking that fuel everywhere. You are applying an 80% spending mindset to your 20% earning potential. You are meticulously tracking the 80% of trivialities, the pennies, while ignoring the 20% of decisions that are actually sinking your ship. You have mastered your time. Now we must master your money. That's why in Chapter 8 we apply the 80-20 rule to your finances. Chapter 8, the 80-20 financials. Stop tracking pennies, start tracking percentages. You are an engine of execution. Your deep work, from Chapter 7, is your 20% action that generates 80% of your income. You are focused. You are earning. You are creating value. But an engine, no matter how powerful, is useless if it is leaking 80% of its fuel. And your financial life is one giant pressurized leak. You are applying an 80% busy mindset to your money, and it is keeping you poor. You have been lied to. You have been told that financial discipline is about budgeting. You've been told to cut back on the lattes. You've been told to track every penny. This is the 80-20 deception at its most insidious. This is busy work for your money. It feels productive. It feels responsible. But it is a trap. Let's look at the 80%er, the busy budgeter. He has 3 budgeting apps on his phone. He spends 20 minutes every night categorizing his $5 coffee, his $12 lunch, his $3 pack of gum. He argues with the cashier over a 50-cent error. He spends hours per week meticulously tracking the pennies. At the end of the month, he looks at his spreadsheet with pride. He has accounted for everything. He feels in control, but his net worth hasn't moved. Why? Because while he was busy tracking the pennies, the 80% noise he was ignoring, the 20% decisions that were actually sinking his ship. This is the great financial lie. You feel good skipping the $5 latte because it's an easy, visible win, but you are spending 80% of your mental energy on a 20% or 2% problem. Now look at the 20%er, the productive wealth builder. She does not budget. She engineers. She does not track pennies. She tracks percentages. She understands the new mantra. Stop micromanaging your money. Start macro-managing your wealth. She knows that 80% of all financial stress and failure comes from just 20% of your decisions. We call these the big 3. These are the only 3 numbers that matter. 1, housing. 2, transportation. 3rd, high-interest debt. That's it. That is the 20% list. These 3 decisions will account for 80% or more of your financial stress. And the 80%ers get them all wrong. The busy budgeter, who is so proud of saving $5 on a latte, lives in an apartment that is 50% of his take-home pay, the 80% trap. Drives a brand new $50,000 car with a $700 monthly payment, the 80% trap, and carries $10,000 in credit card debt for the points, the 80% trap. He is penny-wise and pound-foolish. He is winning the 80% battle, the lattes, while he is being slaughtered in the 20% war, the big 3. He is meticulously organizing the deck chairs on the Titanic. You have a choice with your capital. You can spend your focus and mental energy on the 80% of $5 decisions. Or you can spend it once on the 20% of $50,000 decisions. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you execute. You feel like you deserve the new car. It's a status symbol. You must implement the 20% decision. Buy a reliable 3-year-old used car for cash. That one decision is worth 30 years of skipping lattes. You feel like you need the luxury apartment in the trendy neighborhood. You must execute the 20% decision to live in a place that is 25% of your income, not 50%. This one decision frees up 25% of your income forever. Stop micromanaging your money. Start macro-managing your wealth. Your action item for this chapter is the 80-20 financial audit. You are going to stop tracking anything under $20. It is noise. It is a waste of your precious mental capital. Instead, you will find 3 numbers. Percentages. What percentage of your monthly take-home pay is your total housing cost? Rent, mortgage, insurance, taxes. What percentage of your monthly take-home pay is your total transportation cost? Car payment, gas, insurance. What is the total dollar amount of your high-interest, anything over 8% consumer debt? These are your 20% wealth triggers or wealth drains. This is your new battlefield. Your entire financial focus, all of that energy you used to spend on lattes and coupons, will now be aimed like a laser at these 3 numbers. Your mission is no longer save $5. Your mission is reduce my housing percentage from 40% to 25%. This may mean moving. This may mean getting a roommate. This is a 20% decision. It is hard. That's why the 80%ers never do it. Your mission is reduce my transportation percentage from 20% to 5%. This means selling the expensive car and buying a cheaper one. This is a 20% decision. It requires killing your ego. Your mission is eliminate 100% of my consumer debt. Every dollar of your deep work, your 20% earning, goes to solving your big three, your 20% spending. When you do this, you create a tidal wave of new capital. Capital that you can finally use for its real 20% purpose. Owning assets. Chapter 4. This is how you get rich, not by saving $5, but by engineering a system that frees up $1,500 a month. That's the key to long-term wealth. Stop micromanaging your money. Start macro-managing your wealth. You have now mastered the 80-20 rule for your time, focus, network, execution, and finances. The system is built. The engine is running. The fuel leaks are sealed. You are executing. You are building. But there is one final insidious 80% trap. It's the trap that stops you from shipping. It stops you from launching. It stops you from finishing. It is the 80% trap that hides behind the mask of high standards. It's called perfectionism. That's why in Chapter 9, we kill the final enemy. Chapter 9, The Good Enough Psychology. How perfectionism is the 80% trap. The system is built. The engine is fueled. You are executing deep work. Your finances are engineered. You are a 20%er. You are on the 10-yard line. You are about to score. And you stop. You stop to double-check. You stop to make one last tweak. You stop to polish. This is the final and most insidious 80% trap. It is the most dangerous trap of all because it disguises itself as a virtue. It hides behind the mask of high standards. It calls itself excellence. It calls itself quality. But it is a lie. It's called perfectionism. Perfectionism is the 80% trap in its purest, most toxic form. It is the law of diminishing returns weaponized against your progress. It is the enemy of done. Here is the math. Pay attention. 20% of your effort will get you 80% of the way to a finished product. This is your good enough version. This is the minimum viable product. It works. It delivers the core value. It is ready to ship. But the 80%er, the perfectionist, they can't stop. They look at that 80% complete project and they only see the 20% that is missing. They become obsessed. And so they spend 80% more time, 80% more energy, 80% more of their precious mental capital to close that final, insignificant 20% gap. They are spending 80% of their resources on a 20% or 2% improvement. This is not a high standard. This is bad math. This is not excellence. This is a bad investment. This is the 80% trap. Let's be clear about what perfectionism really is. It is not a high standard. Perfectionism is fear. It is the fear of criticism. It is the fear of judgment. It is the fear of launching your product, your idea, your book, and finding out that someone, somewhere doesn't like it. It is the fear of failure. And so, to protect your ego, you hide. You hide behind the activity of polishing. Perfectionism is just busyness for high achievers. It's the ultimate procrastination. You feel productive because you are working on it, but you are not achieving anything. You are not finishing. You are not shipping. You are just spinning your wheels on the 10-yard line. It's not about what you feel. It's about what you execute. You feel the need to just make it a little bit better. You must manage the launch. You feel afraid of what people will say. You must execute the shipment. Let's look at the two entrepreneurs. This is the 80-20 of the real world. The first is the 80%er, the polisher. He has a brilliant idea. He spends 12 months in his garage perfecting it. He's polishing the code. He's redesigning the logo for the 10th time. He's tweaking the font. He's afraid to show it to a single customer. He is spending 80% of his time on the final 20% of details. After a year, he finally launches his perfect product. And what happens? The market has moved on. A competitor, a finisher, has already captured the entire audience. Or even worse, he discovers that his perfect product is something nobody ever wanted in the first place. He wasted 80% of his time on a 0% return. The second is the 20%er, the finisher. She has the same idea. She spends 30 days, 20% of the time building a good enough version. It's not pretty. It has a few bugs. The logo is simple, but it works. It delivers 80% of the core value, and she ships it. She launches it to 100 people. She is not afraid. Because she is not seeking praise, she is seeking data. And she gets the single most valuable 20% asset in the universe: real market feedback. Her 100 customers tell her exactly what's wrong, they tell her what they hate, they tell her what's missing, and they tell her what they love. She didn't guess. She measured. Now she spends the rest of her time building what the market has proven it wants. She wins. The polisher loses. Wealth builders are finishers, not polishers. Done is better than perfect. You must destroy the identity of perfectionist. It is a liability. You must adopt the identity of finisher. That is an asset. The market does not pay you for perfect. The market pays you for done. The market pays you for the value you deliver, not the value you hoard in your workshop. Your good enough version, shipped today, is infinitely more valuable than your perfect version that stays on your hard drive forever. You have a choice with your capital. You can spend 80% of your time polishing for your ego, or you can spend 20% of your time shipping for your profit, and use the next 80% to iterate and win. That's the key to long-term wealth. Stop polishing. Start shipping. You have now defeated the final enemy, the lie of perfectionism. You have the complete 80-20 system. You know how to identify your 20% wealth triggers. You know how to eliminate 80% of the noise. You know how to protect your mind, your money, and your network. You know how to execute with deep work. You know how to ship. The fortress is built. The engine is running. The product is launched. You have the how. But how is not enough. This system is not a one-time fix. It is not a 30-day challenge you complete and then forget. Busyness is an addiction. The 80% noise is a current that never stops pulling at you. The 80% trap is always waiting for you to get comfortable. You fixed it for today. How do you keep it fixed for life? How do you make this productivity permanent? That's why in our final chapter we stop building the system and we start living the system. Chapter 10, The 80-20 Life, a system for permanent productivity. You have the complete system. You have the 9-part blueprint. You know how to see the 80-20 deception that keeps people busy. Chapter 1, you know how to identify your 20% wealth triggers. Chapter 2, you know how to eliminate, automate, and delegate the 80% noise. Chapter 3, you know how to be an 80-20 investor to own, not chase. Chapter 4, you know how to protect your mind from the 80% tax on trivial decisions. Chapter 5, you know how to build your 20% network of assets, not liabilities. Chapter 6, you know how to execute with deep work. Chapter 7, you know how to macro-manage your wealth, not micromanage your pennies. Chapter 8, and you know how to ship because done is better than perfect. Chapter 9, you have the tools, you have the weapons, You have the fortress. But this is the most dangerous moment of your entire journey. Why? Because you think you are finished, because you are comfortable, because you have won. You are not finished. You are never finished. The 80-20 rule is not a one-time fix. It is not a 30-day challenge you complete to get a certificate. It is not a diet you finish. The 80-20 is a war you must win every single day. Busyness is an addiction. The 80% noise is entropy. It is the default state of the universe. The moment you stop, the moment you get comfortable, the weeds grow back. The 80% tasks, the 80% people, the 80% decisions. They are always at the gate, waiting for you to lower your guard. Your inbox 0 from yesterday is already full of 100 new 80% requests today. The hot tip you ignored yesterday is replaced today by a new 80% distraction. The 80% liability you managed last week is sending you a new crisis text right now. The 80%ers solve the problem, celebrate, and then revert to their old habits within 90 days. This is why they are permanently stuck. They are in a constant cycle of cleanup and relapse. You will not be one of them. Your goal is not a one-time cleanup. Your goal is permanent productivity. To do this, you must stop thinking of the 80-20 as a tactic. It must become your operating system. It is the filter through which you see everything, and like any good operating system, it requires regular maintenance. It needs a diagnosis. It needs an update. This is the final tool. This is the 20% action that protects all your other 20% actions. I call it the quarterly 80-20 review. Once every 90 days, not once a year, you will schedule a 2-hour non-negotiable deep work session with yourself. This is the 20% meta work that keeps the entire system running. And in this review, you will run a 4-part diagnostic. Part 1, the task audit, the 80% purge. You will pull up your calendar and your to-do list from the last 90 days. You will ask with ruthless honesty, what 80% tasks have crept back in? What new busy work have I said yes to? What new low-value meetings are on my calendar? What new 80% habits have formed? You must find them, and you must kill them again. You will apply the Eliminate, Automate, Delegate framework to your new list of 80% noise. Eliminate ruthlessly. Part 2, the financial audit, the Big 3 review. You will not look at your latte receipts. You will only look at your Big 3, your housing, your transportation, your debt. Are you still on track? Have you let a new 80% lifestyle expense creep in? Are you still micromanaging pennies, or are you macro-managing your wealth? You will check your 80-20 investment system. Is it still 100% automated, or have you fallen back into the 80% trap of feeling the need to check it, to time it, to tinker with it? You will reinforce the system. Part 3, the network audit, the liability scan. You will ask, who has been draining 80% of my energy? Who have I let back inside the fortress? Who is pulling me into their 80% drama? You will identify the 20% of relationships that have delivered 80% of your growth, and you will schedule time to invest more in them, and you will locate the 80% liabilities, and you will reinforce the boundary. Part 4, the trigger review, the leverage hunt. This is the most important part. You will ask, are my 20% wealth triggers from 90 days ago still my 20% wealth triggers today? The market changes. Your job changes. You change. The 20% task that made you $100,000 last year might be an 80% maintenance task this year. The 80%er keeps doing what used to work. They are a one-hit wonder. The 20%er is always hunting for the new leverage point. This is the key. The 80-20 rule defines leverage, and your leverage point is always moving. You must be a shark. You must move forward. You must always be hunting for the 20% of actions that will deliver 80% of tomorrow's results. This quarterly review is your radar. It is your navigation system. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you execute. You will not feel like doing this review. You will feel like you are too busy. That feeling is the 80% trap trying to stop you from running the diagnostic that will kill it. You must execute the review. This is the 80-20 life. It is not easier. It is in many ways harder. It requires constant vigilance. It requires ruthless discipline. But it is simpler. It is a life of clarity. A life where you are no longer a slave to the busy panic of the 80%. You are a master of the 20% signal. You know what matters. And you know what noise is. You know what to do, and you know what to ignore. This is the system. This is the operating system. The 80-20 rule defines leverage. You must apply it every day. Stop being busy. Start being productive. Start building your wealth. You have the complete operating system. You have all the tools. You have the blueprint to see the world as it is. A world of 80% noise and 20% signal. You have reached the end of this audiobook, but you are at the beginning of your financial transformation. We have established the truth. Your silence has a cost, and you have been paying it for too long. We have proven that your boundaries are your bank account. That composure is a weapon that the most important negotiation is with yourself. You now have the blueprint, the scripts, and the mindset. But knowledge without action is worthless. The conversations you are avoiding are the very walls standing between you and the wealth you deserve. If this audiobook has armed you for the battles ahead, your next actions are clear. Subscribe to this channel for your weekly masterclass in financial strategy. Share this audiobook with one person who is still paying the silence tax. And comment below with the first hard conversation you commit to having, because public declaration is the first step to victory. You have now learned to master the external art of conversation, but the war is also won internally. Your journey does not end here. On your screen now is your next essential lesson: Wealth Psychology. Why emotional reaction will keep you poor. Click it to learn that wealth isn't about luck, it's about psychology. Master your fear, greed, and impatience to break the cycle of financial failure once and for all. And once you master your internal psychology, your next step is to master your execution. Look for the next audiobook in our series. Stop being busy. Start being productive. The 80-20 rule for wealth builders. You will learn how to eliminate 80% of the busy work and focus only on the 20% of actions that truly build wealth. The time for listening is over. The time for building begins now. Go. Build your wealth.